Maya had hoped the move would bring peace. After losing her husband unexpectedly, she packed up what little they had and brought her 6-year-old son, Liam, to a quieter part of town. The apartment was nothing fancy, just a modest 2-bedroom with creaky floors and an old hallway mirror, but to Maya, it was a fresh start. Liam, though young, had always been sensitive. He asked deep questions and often talked to his toys like they were real. Maya took comfort in his imagination. It meant he was coping in his own way. That first evening, they shared pizza on the living room floor, surrounded by unpacked boxes. As Maya washed dishes, she heard Liam call out. She walked over and found him standing before the mirror in the hallway, staring intently. His little hand pressed against the glass, eyes wide with quiet curiosity. "Mom," he said softly, "there's a boy in there. He's sad." Maya froze. "A boy?" she repeated with a smile, crouching beside him. Liam nodded without looking at her. "He's been waiting." She let out a gentle laugh, brushing his hair back. "You've got quite the imagination, kiddo." But as Liam finally turned to face her, his eyes weren't playful or silly. They were sincere. Honest. And something in them made Maya's chest tighten, like he really had seen someone. That night, as she lay in bed, the apartment felt just a little too quiet. And the mirror, she couldn't bring herself to look into it. The days that followed were strange. Liam spent more and more time near the hallway mirror. He'd sit cross-legged on the floor, whispering as if someone was listening from the other side. Sometimes, he would laugh softly. Other times, he'd look sad and quiet. Maya would walk past, pausing briefly, unsure whether to interrupt. She tried asking him about it, but he'd just say, "I'm talking to Noah." He's scared. At first, she thought it was just an imaginary friend, something many kids invent when they're lonely. But there was something about the way Liam spoke, so calm, so certain. One afternoon, Maya overheard him saying gently, "Don't cry, Noah. I'll help you find your mommy." Her heart skipped a beat. She stepped closer. "Liam, who is Noah?" Liam looked up at her, blinking as if he'd forgotten she was even there. "The boy in the mirror. He said he got lost and couldn't find the way out. But I told him we'd help him. Right, Mom?" Maya forced a smile, unsure of what to say. Part of her wanted to dismiss it, but another part, a quieter, deeper instinct, told her to listen. That night, she stared at the mirror long after Liam went to bed. Its surface was still and silent, reflecting only the dim light from the hallway. But just before she turned away, she noticed something. Tiny handprints. At Liam's height. On the inside of the glass. And Maya was sure, Liam hadn't touched it that day. That night, sleep didn't come easily. Maya sat at the kitchen table with her laptop, the glow of the screen the only light in the room. She typed in the name, Noah, along with their apartment building's address. At first, nothing came up. But then, an old article from 1998 appeared. Her heart pounded as she clicked. Local boy, 7, goes missing. Last seen at Oak Ridge Apartments. Authorities' search continues. The name hit her like a wave, Noah Sanders. He was the same age as Liam. Same dark eyes. Same apartment building. And when she scrolled further, she froze. Apartment 2B. Her apartment. Maya's breath caught. The article included a grainy black and white photo of the boy, smiling, with a gap between his teeth. The next morning, she didn't mention anything to Liam. But while unpacking boxes in the attic, she found an old envelope tucked inside the wall, left behind, forgotten. Inside was a faded photograph of 2 children. Liam peeked over her shoulder and pointed immediately. "That's Noah," he said softly. "That's him." Maya stared at him. "Liam, how do you know that?" "He showed me. In the mirror." She wanted to explain it away, to find a rational answer. But all she could feel was the weight of something unspoken, something hidden for years. And for the first time, she began to believe, Noah hadn't disappeared. He had been waiting. For someone who could see him. For someone who would finally listen. Later that week, Liam stood by the closet, quiet and still. Maya noticed him staring at the wall behind the coats, his fingers tracing the edges of the wooden paneling. "There's something back there," he said. "Noah told me." Maya hesitated. Then, trusting her instincts, and her son, she gently moved the coats aside and tapped along the back wall. One piece sounded hollow. She found a small gap and pried it open with a screwdriver. Behind it was a narrow, dark space, barely big enough for a child to crawl through. Dust filled the air. Inside, lit only by the hallway light, she saw a tiny rusted toy car, a small red sneaker, and a broken pendant with the letters NS engraved. Maya's throat tightened. Her hands trembled as she pulled out the objects. She called the police. When investigators arrived, they confirmed the findings: the remains of a child had been hidden there for decades. And the items matched the description from the 1998 missing person report. It was Noah. Word spread quickly. News vans showed up. Reporters stood outside. But for Maya, the noise outside didn't matter. What mattered was Liam, his kindness, his gentle heart, his innocent promise to help. Because of him, a boy lost to time had finally been found. And in that moment, she realized, it wasn't just a ghost story. It was a story about being seen. About not giving up on those who go unheard. And about the healing power of compassion, even from a child. Weeks passed, and the apartment felt different now, lighter, warmer. The silence that once felt heavy was gone. Liam no longer sat by the mirror. He played with his toys again, laughed more, and slept through the night without calling out. One evening, as Maya tucked him into bed, she kissed his forehead and whispered, "You've been really brave, Liam." He smiled sleepily and said. "Noah said thank you. He found his mommy. He's not sad anymore." Maya felt her eyes sting with tears. She nodded, brushing his hair gently. "I think you helped him more than anyone ever could." After Liam fell asleep, she walked down the hallway, stopping in front of the mirror one last time. For a moment, it reflected only her tired face. But as she turned to leave, something caught her eye, a faint, soft glow in the glass. A little boy stood there, just for a second. He smiled. And then he was gone. Maya placed her hand on the mirror, heart full, not with fear, but peace. Sometimes, healing doesn't come through answers. It comes through love, through being willing to listen. And through the simple, beautiful courage of a child who refused to ignore someone who felt forgotten. That night, Maya whispered into the quiet. "Good night, Noah." And for the first time in a long time, both mother and son slept soundly, knowing that even the smallest kindness can bring someone home.